Now anyone who knows these machines, they know what they are. They are a ridiculously expensive system that are sold direct. And the problem with these units is that nobody services them other than Bose. Here's another problem with this type of design, is that in order to operate this unit, the units have to be plugged together. But the cord they give you, basically the power plugs into this unit first, and then this unit plugs into the other unit. You get your audio and control cable, which connects your audio back to the main unit, and power from here over to the main unit. But as you can see, the power cord's not long enough, so I have to find another cord in order to power up the main unit so that I can even test this thing. And it so happens that my Sony Blu-ray player just so happens to use the same cord, so I'm back in business. And power up the main unit. Still waiting for it to turn on. Okay, it says there's no discs. So let's install a disc and see how this sucker works. We put a disc in. It doesn't appear to even be trying to spin. So it might be something relatively minor, like it might just be dust or dirt that's on the optical pickup. So let's just see if we can clean that off. The optical pickup's going to be underneath this plate here. So just in case it's just dust, we'll just take the air compressor and just blow some air in here. Now we'll reconnect it and try it again and see whether it works this time. Yes, I have to turn it back on. Yes, I have to turn it on. Here we go. And once again, it doesn't even appear to be, like it's not even trying to spin the disc at all. Oh. Trying to spin it. Play. You know what I think is bent? Watch this. I can hear it. It's like something is bent. I think this top plate is bent a bit. That's what I think. That's weird. Yeah, I think this top plate is bent, and that's why it's not spinning. It's frozen the disc. If I put my finger on there and hold it, it will spin. Interesting. I get this suspicion the fellow that owns this thing just moved. It's an older fellow, and he just moved into a new residence, and probably hadn't even used it since he moved in because the thing was humming. And I have a feeling that maybe they dropped it or something while it was being transported, and have done some damage to it. Because the disc is definitely sticking. It's not spinning freely. See what I mean? If I press down here on one corner, let go of it, it's bent. This corner is bent up. Yeah, I definitely think that this thing was dropped when it was being transported, and something in that mechanism bent slightly. And now it's working. And all I did was I just pushed down on the corner here. I think that exactly what's happened on this thing is that when this thing was being transported, someone's dropped it, and either bent something or jarred something out of position, and it was causing the disc to bind. That's disc number 3 here. You see, now it's spinning. That one's making a bit of noise. Either that or it's out of alignment by a tooth or two. We'll just see if we can lift this deck out and just take a look at it. This looks to be it is driven by a worm gear here. There's probably another one on this side here that screws it up and down. So we lift the entire mechanism out. There's 4 screws that hold it in place, and there's a little bit of a little complex mechanism here that raises up and lowers the mechanism. That's one set of clutches. I'm seeing how this thing works here to figure out how it's raised and lowered. If we look at the mechanism here, you'll see that there are a series of gears, and the gears raise and lower 3 worm screws, one on each corner here, one here, and one on this side over here. And I'm looking at it, I'm thinking what's happening is it's not going down straight, it's going down at a bit of an angle. So there's got to be some way of adjusting this thing. I'm just going to stare at this mechanism a bit. It's going to be timing between these gears. This one's a little high, because if I press down on this corner and put a little bit of tension down there, the disc spins. So this side is high, these sides are low. The gears, the way that they're timed, it's driven from this direction. The main gear here that turns it, if I release, there's a clutch here I have to release. If I release this clutch and I turn these gears here, you'll see that the whole mechanism here all at once raises and lowers. You see it raises and lowers all of them together. So we're gonna have a timing issue. I just gotta look and see if there's timing marks on here. It's either out of alignment, or could be the gears out of alignment too, or it's bent. But it sure looks like it's bent here a bit. I guess the next approach could be we could lower it down a little bit by just adjusting the timing of the gears here, which is not too difficult to do. Basically raise up these other two slightly, or lower down this one. Probably just lower down this one. How I can do that is, we know what the release catch is. This is the catch here that releases the clutch so that I can turn these gears. Right. All I need to do is just turn this gear slightly clockwise while not letting this other gear turn, which is quite easy to do because I can just lift the gears apart here to prevent the others from turning, and that will change my timing to allow me to lower down the mechanism ever so slightly. I just adjusted it. See if I went the right way or the wrong way. It's either going to work or it's not. So I just adjusted, as you saw, the gears. I was about a half a turn out. We'll just try a couple of the different positions here and see whether it will load. So this is position 3. And now the unit spins up and plays. We'll eject the disc. We'll try position number 2. Position 2. I'll show you what I did once we verify that everything's working there. Position number 2. I don't know if you saw when I was adjusting it before, so I'll pull the mechanism out again. Once we verify that everything is working here, I'll show you the procedure. There's position number 1. So basically, what I did was as follows. After taking out the mechanism, lifting it out, turn the mechanism over. So this is the catch, this is the clutch. What that does is, it's one motor that controls the whole mechanism, depending on whether this clutch is up or down. When the clutch is disengaged, it operates I guess it's the mechanism that sucks the disc in. And when the clutch is in the other position here, so when it's down, the motor operates the lever here to pull the disc in and back. When it's down, the motor then transfers power into this gear assembly here. This gear assembly, as you can see, is the elevator that raises and lowers the entire mechanism. And what I found was when I was running it all the way to the top, this side of the mechanism would reach the top before the other two. Now remember that these gears here, let me zoom the camera out a bit so you can see it a little bit better. These gears here are all linked. There's linkage gears here that transfer power from, it comes in on this side over here through a couple gears underneath here. There's a gear there, a gear there, and a gear there, and it turns the worm gear here that raises up and lowers this side of the mechanism. Power is also transferred across these other gears that are on the other side of the chassis. Here, 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 which drives this worm gear on this corner, and then some more gears over here which drives the final worm gear, which is on this corner here. These are the elevator screws. You see them? These worm gears are the elevator screws. And what I was finding was happening as I was rolling this mechanism back and forth by hand by pressing down on the clutch and turning the elevator gear, I was finding that it wasn't going up and down straight. What was happening was it was lower. These two were lower than this one. So this one was higher than the other, which would make sense because that's the corner that I could press on and make the thing work. So what I did was I depressed the clutch and I ran the elevator into the point, just to the point where it made contact with the top surface, before it started compressing any springs or anything. Just the point where it made contact with the top surface. And I found that the other ones weren't. They were a little lower. So what I did was, once it made contact with the top surface, I then, using a screwdriver, lifted up this gear here. I'll show you. Zoom the camera in so you can see it. I pried this gear up slightly so that it wasn't making wasn't meshing with this gear. This gear is the one that transfers power over to the elevator here and the other elevator up at the front. So once I had lifted this gear up, I was able to turn this gear underneath here to raise up this side. So I'd already run the mechanism all the way to the top on this side. I then raised up this gear slightly so that I could turn, and it was about a half of a turn, almost half a turn, between a third and a half. So basically from there to here, right? But almost a third of a turn. And then that raised up the mechanism so that the top of the elevator assembly was now making contact with the top chassis, which now has leveled off this unit here. So instead of it going up and down at an angle, it's now going up and down straight. That's all I did to fix it. So now we take the chassis, just drop it back in, just drops into place like that. 4 screws that hold it in place. Now I know what you guys are thinking. You probably think that I've worked on hundreds of these units before, right? Wrong. I've never worked on one of these units before. This is the first of these machines I've ever worked on. Even though the shop that I worked at sold Bose, they sold Bose after I left the shop. So I've never worked on one of these machines before. This is the first one I've seen. It's only the second Bose unit I've ever seen. The first Bose unit I saw was the one that the power was rails, the power pins were burnt on the subwoofer. That was the first Bose system that I ever worked on. And it was just the power plug had burned off. that particular subwoofer was made in Mexico, and I think I made that clear in the video that the rest of the unit was made in the States, but the subwoofer portion of it was Mexican made. This is all American made, this one. And I tell you, the workmanship on this thing is just phenomenal. I'm looking at this circuit board here and I'm drooling over it. It's just so well made. Components are well soldered. They've got good, nice, it's plated through connectors. This is a real sign of quality, this machine. And even this mechanism, it's beautiful. I mean, I've never seen one of these before, but just the design of this thing is just incredible. Yeah, these things are expensive, right? There's no doubt about it. That you buy one of these systems, yeah, you're paying for the name, but you're also paying for very good quality. And when I look at the construction of this system, it really puts a smile on my face because my car has a Bose sound system in it. And it works extremely well too. I never had any problems with it. There we go. It's back up and running. I don't want to play that thing too long because I don't want YouTube to get upset with me. This unit is now ready to go home. Get the top cover here. Put the top cover back on. We'll make one final test. This little connector just plugs into these LEDs on the front here, just so you know what disc is in it. Talk about ease of servicing too. These things are, just a breeze to work on. Again, it's, some people are very quick to point a finger and say the Americans don't know how to build anything and they don't know how to design anything, but you know what? From my own experience in electronics, I would have to say that the Americans probably built the best electronics I've seen, and they still do. But you pay for it, right? It's not cheap stuff. You pay a small premium to buy anything that's made in Canada or in the States. I think myself personally that premium is worthwhile because one, you're supporting the local industry and keeping jobs at home. Here we go, and this is what I mean. Right, there's our label. Made in the USA. So I think it's great, that they're still actually making some stuff here. Maybe not as much as we used to, but we're still making some products here, and the products that are being made here are of very good quality. Plug all this stuff back in. Verify once everything goes back together that everything is working as it should. It's initializing. Okay, play. Reading disc. Disc 2. What the heck? I'll even put another disc in here. I'll put a disc into disc 3. Now if only I can figure out how to work this silly remote control. I have no idea how to work this remote. Oh, I guess that's how I do it. I just push the CD button. Disc number 4. Because disc 1 obviously is this one. So now we're down to disc 4. This is a CDR. We'll see how it plays. Sounds like it's working. Very good sound off these units. I don't want to play it too long because I don't want to get popped for music. So that's that disc. To take out the other disc, I guess I have to press the CD button. It'll take me back to, where are we here? Disc 1, disc 2. There we go. Just press the CD button repeatedly and it will change discs. And we'll eject that disc, put it back into disc 1. There we go. Stop. Back to radio. Power off. Thanks for watching.